Hey everybody, Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Williamson County, and this is for southwestern Williamson County. As you can see there on the radar, tornado warnings back to our west, but we've been a little bit worried about these cells that pop up out ahead of the main line tonight. And that's exactly what's happened. We've had these cells pop up, and they are moving into Williamson County. At least one of them is. Could be a hailer. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail possible there with the storm. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail. Initially, these storms seem to be producing a good bit of hail. So these have a good hail look to them. And so it looks like they could be some hailers moving in, especially in areas of southwestern Williamson County. The storm seems to be growing a little bit as it strengthens, it appears, as it moves into southwestern Williamson County. So a little bit of time there before that thing moves into Williamson County, but the warning is in effect here until 5:45 p.m. All right, so let's back out just a little bit. We have a few things going on here. Back to our southwest, we have our west and southwest. We have a few things going on, some tornado warnings out there. 1 second. All right, cool. So, yeah, we got those two tornado warnings out to our west, and so one of them out there in Carroll County. So these are in West Tennessee. These storms seem to be pretty strong out there. A lot of rotation with those, but those are in West Tennessee. Right now, we're looking at these other storms that are in Middle Tennessee. So far, not producing rotation to the extent of having tornado warnings with these. These are mostly smaller storms at the moment, but they could very easily be producing hail. In fact, I'm seeing a pretty decent little hail signature in there. So pretty certainly producing some hail, but no rotation with that one at the moment. So that's why we're hitting it up. Severe thunderstorm warning on that one. And again, that's till 5:45, so about another 15 minutes here, and we will just be watching this as it comes through, see if it gets a little stronger. But let's talk about just a few things as we kind of get going here tonight. A lot happening. So we've got these storms coming in just south of us. Back to the west, we have even stronger storms, and then our main line is back here. You can't see it because it's out of range of the Nashville radar, but back here to the west in Arkansas, you have your main line. So just to illustrate where that is, there it is right there. That's the main line that we'll get here tonight. And that is the main line that we're kind of wondering where it's going to stall out. We think it's going to stall out somewhere near us in Middle Tennessee, but we're not exactly sure where. So some heavy rain possible, some severe weather possible if it stalls out near us. We're just going to have to see where it stalls out. But these storms out ahead of that line, so there's your line back there. These storms out ahead of the line are the ones that we have the most concern about for now, because they can be especially damaging. And so let's talk about what to look for this evening, or what to do. You want to go ahead and prepare your safe place. Go ahead and prepare that place in your house or wherever you're going to be this evening, lowest level of your home, away from windows. We did this the other night. We did this Sunday night, and we're back already with this. So lowest level of your home, interior room, closet, bathroom. You want to prepare that space. You don't have to go there now, but you want to prepare that space, right now, so that later, if we need to use that, then you can get to it quickly, and it's already prepared, already cleaned out. But for this severe thunderstorm, really it's just kind of a hailer right now. Seeing some hail in it. It doesn't look especially large at the moment, so that's good. The stronger storm appears to be up here in Dickson County. This one might be getting its act together. Looks like it's kind of getting its act together pretty quickly. So that's up there near Burns, and that could have some larger hail with it. Wouldn't surprise me if there's a warning issued on that one here pretty soon. So looks like the Weather Service is pretty much confirming that hail and wind threat with these storms initially. Hey, Will and Elon.
Good afternoon.
Hey,
Hey, Will, what are we looking for with reports with these?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, thank you.
if we're looking at hail sizes, what are you looking for on reports?
Hail larger than a quarter, but any hail that you get, please compare it to the size of a coin. Send it to us using hashtag T-Spotter. We take those reports, send them to the Weather Service, and help downstream warning these storms as they come through. Certainly want to see anything related to wind damage, tree limbs down, trees down, power lines down, damage to structures, roofs, etc. All of that information, if you can send it to us with your location, an image, if you can take it safely, and exactly what you're seeing over to us, we'll get that to the Weather Service and really help things out. So far, no real reports. I expect that we'll see some pea-size hail reports for some of these storms to the west of us, but nothing in the counties yet.
Yeah, here's some ETAs for you on this cell coming up through eastern Hickman County now and western Murray County, northwestern Murray County. So that'll be coming into Greenbrier. This is the Williamson County Greenbrier here in the next little bit. So Fairview about 551, maybe just east of Fairview. We'll have to see. Riverwalk, Forest Hills about 607. Of course, you're not currently under a warning, but the only folks that are under a severe thunderstorm warning at the moment are places like Fairview and down to the south, and places along 840 down in there. So let's zoom into some of those spots. So the Pinewood Road exit, Garrison Springs. Seems like we were just talking about these areas on the Sunday night, guys. But Garrison Springs, Pinewood Road, Kingfield, Fairview High School, Fernvale, Boston, all the way over to Beechwood Plantation. So Franklin, you're not really included in this severe thunderstorm, but you kind of want to watch these. If y'all kind of know the drill, if you live downstream of these warnings, you don't want to disconnect because they could be affecting you before too long. So you kind of want to keep an eye on them as they move up to the north. The stronger storm, perhaps stronger than the one we have coming into Williamson County, is this one up here in Dixon County. So that one could affect northwestern Davidson in time, and so we'll have to see if it does. But that appears to be the stronger of the storms we have going on right now, is this one over here in Dixon County, and that one could head on up into Davidson County over the next 45 minutes or so, and could have some hail with it. So that's the biggest threat right now is hail, and maybe some strong gusty winds. But radar showing here an 80% probability of hail with this cell there in Dixon County. And again, as it kind of moves off to the northeast, could clip Joelton up there in northwestern Davidson County. And then we have our storm down here that could have some strong winds and hail with it as well.
I think it's also important to note lots of kids' sports activities going on. They may have said, "Hey, if it rains or storms, we'll leave." Now is that time, right? If nothing else, these storms are packing a lot of lightning. So if you hear thunder, it's time for get off the field, get into shelter, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a part of some activities that got canceled for the evening. We had quite a few activities coming up, started about 6:30, and we canceled all of those just in case these storms sort of bubbled up like they have. The rotating storms, the ones that have either produced tornadoes, funnel clouds, or radar indicated rotation, have so far been west of the Tennessee River. So Jackson has seen at least one of those, and a couple more coming up there through southwestern Tennessee now. And those are the ones we're going to kind of have to watch. We're going to have to watch these cells that sort of develop out ahead of this line. And we were we were thinking about this. The HRRR was the HRRR model was sort of showing this trend today of storms sort of forming out ahead of the main line. Well, that was new to us. That was new news to us and new data for us as the morning went on. That was not something we initially, so to speak, had on our radar today. Knew it could be a possibility, but we really didn't have any modeling data showing that happening. Well, as the morning went on, that sort of changed, and we started getting some consistency in the HRRR showing exactly what's happening now. Will, it nailed it. The HRRR model really nailed this this possibility.
Well, I will say Elon nailed it as well. He did talk about
Elon
this
said something about it in the blog, I think,
as a possible solution for today. So good job,
Yeah.
intern. Got you one.
Yeah, definitely a good one there, Elon. All right, so we got a couple of areas here that we're watching, and
Ooh, will you let Tom in?
there he is. I see him. There he is. Hey, Tom, how's it going? We have meteorologist Tom Johnstone helping us out this afternoon, so he's in here and is going to clear everything up for us.
So, Tom, we were just discussing before you popped on. This is the HRRR solution from earlier. Pretty much come to life, right?
I think he's muted or doesn't have the right mic checked.
Uh-oh, no mic.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
I was, in fact, muted on my end. It was the system mute, not the software mute. So, yeah, I mean, it certainly is. That's mentioned in his blog earlier, and just looking at some of the runs, starting with the morning runs today, yeah, showed some potential for more what we call discrete activity out ahead of the main action that's going to come in late this evening. So, yeah, it's been an interesting day. Certainly a change in the air mass from 9 o'clock this morning to now. A wide open Gulf air mass is over Middle Tennessee at this point.
And we felt that all day, right? Hot and sticky outside, really gross. Felt like a day that if we got some thunderstorms, they'd go up pretty quickly. A lot of people asking, is this just full on our cap or inversion is gone? And how will this affect later on tonight?
To me, it looks like back to the west, the cap is gone, but it's close over across northeast part of Mississippi, northern Alabama, and in Middle Tennessee. It's right on the fringe of breaking. It's feeling some lift. The atmosphere is creating some lift, and that's helping these thunderstorms to form out ahead of the big supercells back to our west. One of the things we saw today was it got up into the middle 80s, and we ended up with a pretty good spread between the temperature and the dew point, which indicates that we mixed the atmosphere. The atmosphere kind of turbulently mixes up thousands of feet, and it mixed a little higher than I thought it was going to mix up today. And what that allows storms to do is create a little more outflow. And we've seen that with some of the storms back in West Tennessee. They've struggled to really keep a persistent low-level circulation as outflow kind of undercuts that. And that's good for us, really, if that continues. The cap has kind of held back on the initiation of storms, that as we can see, that's breaking right now. And there's so much instability and shear that any one of these storms could get going and really intensify rapidly. So that's been the concern all day.
New severe thunderstorm warning now for Williamson County. This is going to be for southeastern Williamson County. This is a storm that's coming up now through Lewisburg, northern parts of Lewisburg and Marshall County. And so it looks like it's going to be moving toward Eagleville. Move over to another radar here that has the polygon there. So that's going to be for this storm here, right just north of Lewisburg. Be headed for Chapel Hill. Looks like decent sized hail with this one, actually. And actually a decent sized hail signature there in the correlation coefficient product. So looks like a decent hail core with that one. This may be the storm to watch over the next 15, 20 minutes to see how it evolves and if it can get going. This one here back in Williamson County, about the time they issued the warning, sort of had troubles. It struggled there, and it's weakened quite a bit. So, but this one here in Marshall County is looking a little bit more impressive. Okay, so let's put some ETAs on that one. For places in Williamson County, we got that 31A, 41A split there where the gas station and Bonnie's Barnyard and the airsoft field are. And it should be there around 6:03, give or take. Triune, 6:07. And then you got areas over in Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, areas like that off to the east. Okay, so this storm is being warned for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. But definitely a hail look with this one. This one's got a decent look of hail. So for areas of southeastern Williamson County, particularly on the far southeastern part, so right around the 31A, 41A split there turns into, there's that split, that weird intersection, goes down to Eagleville, and the other one goes down to Lewisburg, Chapel Hill. Right in there, if you're in Williamson County, that part of Williamson County, that's kind of the most likely area to get this storm. The further northwest you are, Page High School, even up to Nolensville, the thing will probably go southeast of you. But this looks like a pretty decent hailer and a storm that's kind of getting its legs under it and might be getting its act together. So pay attention to this one. If you happen to be watching from over in Rutherford County, definitely pay attention to this storm. Pay attention to this storm. This one could do things we don't want it to do. All right.
Also,
let's
that
check on this one up to we got one up to the north now. So let's go up to Nashville. So this storm we were talking about just a minute ago. All right. This is the one up there in Dixon County that we were talking about a minute ago that could kind of veer into Nashville and kind of clip northwestern Davidson County. Well, it now has a severe thunderstorm warning on it. Same type of thing. It's got a decent hail signature on it, and could pack a wallop with the hail sizes up there in northwestern Davidson County and certainly Cheatham County.
That storm's got a really good updraft on it. The core is very lofted on that storm. I was looking at it from Birmingham's radar just to get a side view, and you can see that storm really stands out now as a big one. And maybe a little bit of a left movement, a left of the mean wind, which would suggest enhanced hail potential with that as well.
Okay. Good to know. So, yeah, definitely one to watch. This storm's one to watch there coming into Cheatham County, and we will not let that one go. So we got a few things going on. So we got 3 severe thunderstorm warnings currently, where we had none here about, seems like just a few minutes ago. Now we have 3. So, this is what happens with these kinds of storms. They break that cap, and they just go right up through the cap and have plenty of instability and energy to work with. So that seems to be what we're seeing starting to happen.
Getting our first rumbles of thunder here in Germantown.
All right. Well, it probably won't be our last over the next few days, Tom. What do you think?
I think that's very likely.
So the first severe thunderstorm warning we came on for, which is this one that kind of includes Fairview, that one's going to expire here in less than a minute. I don't expect that one to come back in the same form. That storm has weakened, and right now that leaves us with our 2 stronger storms, one over here going toward northwestern Davidson County up toward Joelton, and that's a hailer for sure. And then the one down here in Marshall County that's going to be going up toward the 31A, 41A split and Triune, maybe just east of Triune. We're going to have to see. But Triune is included in that warning. And so those will be the 2 warnings that we're left with here in 2 seconds. There it goes. We'll take one less severe thunderstorm warning, please. And that one has disappeared, and we're left with these two. All right, so let's back out just for a little bit, and let's see what we're dealing with on the bigger picture. We've had some folks join us here in the past few minutes. So what we have is these storms that have developed out ahead of the main line. The main line is still back here west of Memphis. All right, that's the main line right there, and that's in eastern Memphis from Pocahontas, Batesville, Searcy, and headed into Memphis here in a little bit over the next few hours. Out ahead of the line, you see these supercell storms that have formed out ahead of the line. These are the ones that we're going to have to watch over the next few hours, even as far down here as far south as northwestern Alabama, and even into further south now down into new severe thunderstorm warning just popped up in western Alabama. Even these little cells that are trying to get going, these are sort of aimed up at us eventually. So we're just going to have to see all this evolves. It could be a long evening, all right? And the tornado warnings back to the west are still in West Tennessee. There are no tornado warnings currently in effect in Middle Tennessee. They are all in West Tennessee, but we're going to have to see if that changes over the next little bit. The National Weather Service says that they are going to be expanding the tornado watch east, and it will go from roughly Sumner County down to Lawrence County. All right, so that tornado watch, again, it's a watch. That is not a tornado warning, but it's a tornado watch. Ingredients are available for the production of tornadoes, but it doesn't mean that one has occurred or is imminent. So that new tornado watch will go from Sumner County up here down to Lawrence County. So I anticipate we'll be part of that, drawing that line. But either way, we got some storms to deal with out ahead. Let's take a look at this storm down here in Marshall County in particular.
Good question came in from Gabby. Will it be a PDS watch?
The one to the west was, so I assume if they're just extending it, it will be. But
Tom, that
we'll
sounds right.
We'll have to see. But
I believe it'll just be the same watch, just expanded
There's
in area.
Border over, yeah.
So a little bit of rotation here with this storm coming into the west parts of Chapel Hill. That's going to, that's
definitely a supercell at this point. Very limited,
definitely
low-level spin, but that's a supercell.
All right, tornado watch has just come out, and that's going to include Sumner, Lawrence, Robertson, Davidson, Lewis, Murray, Williamson, Dixon, Hickman, Wayne, Cheatham. So Davidson and Williamson both included in the new tornado watch, and that is going to be in effect until midnight. So tornado watch in effect until midnight for Davidson and Williamson, as well as some other counties. So supercell we're watching down here in northern Marshall County, and definitely some hail in there, I would say. Fair to say there's hail in there. And this one up here to the north, not seeing as much in the rotation department, but am definitely seeing hail with it. It's a decent hail core and hail showing up there in that product. That's a mean machine back around Camden.
Yeah, it's trying to get its act back together again. It's starting to wrap back up. But what we've seen, and I've seen this happen on a few supercell days, is when the winds are so strong in the low levels like we have today, storms can struggle to get the lowest levels to organize into something that's really, really dangerous. So that is absolutely on the table to still happen. But I think that's really helped us, both the slightly drier, lower humidity air because of the better mixing we got today, and then just how strong the winds are in the surface to 4,000 feet. That can cause storms to really struggle. So we hope that keeps up. But as we can see, once these things get going, the instability is there, the shear is there, that they rotate and they take on that classic supercell shape.
Yep. Definitely seeing that happen in some of these. And you can tell some of these are stronger than other ones. Some of them are. Some of them have to or act together a little bit better. This one has a more of a classic supercell shape to it, kind of sharp gradients there, and a little bit of an appendage, a little bit of a hook on the back side of it. But it's still rather small. It's not quite as big as this big thing back to the west of us, around the Tennessee River. So hopefully these don't organize quite as well as that one has, but we're going to have to keep an eye on it.
Nevertheless, those are still some pixels of 40, 45 mile an hour wind coming through there.
Yeah, and that which storm?
Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill, yeah. We have TBNA back today? We do not. Do we? Yeah, we do. Oh, it looks like we do.
Ooh. I have a reflectivity scan, but not a velocity scan.
Are you on GR3 though?
Oh no, that's right.
All right, here's TBNA. So this is, we could have used TBNA the other night, but we didn't have it. But tonight, looks like we have TBNA for the moment. This is going to be looking south toward that storm in Chapel Hill. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Somebody's asking, this is a question we have gotten today. Will these storms that are popping up help to stabilize the atmosphere? Tom, it strikes me that in situations like this, the south winds that we have today have no issue replacing the moisture and the warmth that's lost by these storms. Is that a fair assessment?
They may help just a little bit, as will the loss of daytime heating as the stuff gets closer to Nashville and points east. But yeah, the atmosphere is able to reload very, very quickly in this kind of a setup.
Yeah. So if you're just jumping in here, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently in effect, and they're sort of at our extremes. All right, we have severe thunderstorm warning in effect for northwestern Davidson County, and then far southeastern Williamson County. So everybody in between, our higher population centers, are not currently under a warning, which is good. But it's always Joelton and Triune. I mean, it's always Joelton and Triune, and that they get the prize today for getting our first. I guess our second warning. The first one was in one of our.
It was headed for Joelton too.
Either. Say that again.
It was headed for Joelton as well.
It was. It was.
I'm just going to tweet out this tornado watch.
Yeah.
When does it expire?
Midnight, I believe. I'm looking at that right. And here's some ETAs, some updated ETAs on this cell. Looks like the hail core is going to make it into extreme southeastern Williamson County. So looks like Chapel Hill, let's see, 31A, 41A split there at about 6:03, so about another 10 minutes or so before the hail core gets to that area. And so that's going to be a little noisy when it gets there. And that hail could be quarter-sized down there in that hail core. So, right, kind of in here, you see these greens and areas right around in there. That's kind of where you get that hail core right where those purples are.
Well, that's an angry little storm.
It is an angry little storm. So some roadways there: Arno Alisona Road, Owen Hill, Arno College Grove, Giles Hill. Right around Giles Hill and Flat Creek Road right now actually is where that hail core is. And then Bellenfont Road, Covington, Taliaferro. So those are roads on the far southeastern. I mean, they run on into Rutherford County, but that's where the hail core looks to be over the next few minutes. So this warning's in effect for 19 more minutes.
That almost looks like a anticyclonic circulation.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
And it appears to be making a little bit of move to the left again, which would support that larger hail. So
It does look like anticyclonic, doesn't it? That's
I
toward the
think it
radar. That's
is.
away. That's exactly what that is.
So
Interesting.
that tends to happen more with hail producing storms than that tends to be the main result of that. So that's very interesting. I make sure we'll see that for a couple scans. Make sure it's not something just kind of artificial. That it's a very interesting signature.
That is an interesting signature.
When the atmosphere gets this angry, all kinds of crazy stuff happens.
Yeah, it's true. Let's go check out this storm up here in Cheatham County. And similar story here as far as the hail goes. Let me go over to our let's go over here, check this out. Yeah, looks like some hail scattered around in there. Yeah. So right around Ashland City.
A lot of side lobe too on the velocity you can see, and that'll corrupt your correlation coefficient further south there. Yeah.
Yep, sure is. Yeah, kind of a mess in velocities there. Way, way outside the reflectivity. Yeah, so the angry hail core there looks to be right around Flat Creek Road, Riggs Road, right there on, let's see, it's going to be Horton Highway. Once you get south of the split there, Nolensville Road turns into Horton Highway. So Horton Highway, right there around Flat Creek, Riggs, and Webb Road. An angry hailer there. So let's talk just a second about reports. We would love to have your reports as far as what you're getting there as far as hail goes or any wind damage. We'd love for you to send pictures of that hail compared to the size of a coin if you can. I had to run out and get a hailstone the other night at my place, and you don't want to do that while the hail is still falling. Be very careful doing that. But if you can get that compared to the size of a coin, that would be very helpful for us and be helpful for the Weather Service too. You can use hashtag TSpotter on Twitter or on X, and or you can DM us on Instagram, anything like that. We'll get that and get that over to the Weather Service. They would want to know about all of that. So it looks like the warning up here in Davidson County, they bumped up a notch. So the storm up here in Cheatham County that is affecting Davidson County, they've bumped up the potential hail size there, potentially 2 inches in diameter. We're talking about potentially golf balls there, ping pong ball size, golf ball size, huh?
That's west of town.
That is Joelton. That's a Joelton storm. So that storm is currently over Ashland City. But they have bumped that warning up a notch to give a heads up that could be 2-inch hail. The Weather Service is saying that the storm there is showing signs of large hail of at least golf ball size, if not bigger, according to radar. So that is an issue. So if you're in Joelton or up that way, up near Joelton, you guys need to be preparing for a decent hailstorm. That's going to be up around Coopertown Road, Baxter Road, Beeman Park, anywhere up there in northwestern Davidson County. That storm is a beast, and it has really increased in hail size over the past little bit. So
if you go to Hopkinsville radar, Andrew, you might be able to see there's a little bit of a 3-body scatter spike, which is indicative.
Is there?
Just a tiny little spike south of Ashland City. You see it there.
Yep, sure is.
Yep.
Yeah. So right here, what we can see is, and we won't go into the weeds of exactly how this happens, but there is actually a signature here that where the radar is hitting the hail up in the in the cloud up in the storm there, and it's creating something we call a 3-body scatter spike on radar. So that's a little bit more confirmation even that that storm means business, and it is a hail producer. So severe thunderstorm warning has been extended now to cover more of Davidson County up there on the north side. So they have issued really a new warning. So new severe thunderstorm warning now for pretty much the northern part of Davidson County. So that extends all the way over to Goodlettsville, goes on up toward Bakers, Ivy Point, the Greer Road area. All those roads up there in sort of the rural part of northern Davidson County are in the path of this storm that is potentially producing very large hail. So we're talking at least golf ball size hail up there, potentially on the northwestern side of Davidson County. So that's the main storm right now. The other storms are not looking as impressive as that one, although this one down here, just a little bit of a hail core still with it there, but it's riding right along the Rutherford-Williamson County line, right there around the 31A, 41A split, and then like from there east, we're talking like a couple of miles between there and the Rutherford County line. So somebody's asking, is Goodlettsville safe to travel? I mean, I wouldn't be out in Goodlettsville, but you cut them on the eastern side of this thing, but sometimes they can tend to move right. I wouldn't. I'd hunker down. If you're on the northern side of Davidson County, I'd hunker down.
Yeah, that cell's starting to evolve a little bit into more of a supercellular look. The one,
it is. Sure is. I agree with that. So that's an artifact down here. Don't pay attention to that. But up here, we're going to be watching for some rotation, potentially right around Ashland City. So not way down there, but right up in here. So we'll have to see if that evolves rotation-wise. Doesn't look too impressive right now, but holy cow, I'm telling you, there is probably some very big hail falling right around, and I don't know my state routes out there. State Route 249 in Cheatham County, but right around Bandy Road and Abernathy Road and Peter Pond Road, Bearwalla Road. So anyway, just some that could be some really large hail for sure. All right, let's put a track on this one. So the hail could get to you before these times, okay? The hail could get to you before these, but 618 Baxter Road, same time for around Joelton. Marrowbone Lake. Don't think anybody would be out there fishing right now, but just in case, Marrowbone Lake. 614 here pretty soon, but and then on up into Robertson County. Once again, Greenbrier and Robertson County under the gun for some hail. They seem to always be. But Greenbrier, Springfield Ridgetop up there in Robertson County in line for this as well. So that's a beast of a storm.
Looks like the storm in Pasco is going up too.
Yeah. Yeah, could be strengthening on that one a little bit. So going into Riverwalk, that one's starting to get getting a little bit of a hail look to it. So you might get a little bit of small hail right there around Riverwalk and River Road, Bells Bend. Might get a little bit of hail out of that.
Which storm are you talking about, Elon?
The one near Ashland City right now.
What about
That
that one?
storm has a massive core on it now. So it is way up in the atmosphere, and it's starting to wrap a little bit. So we'll have to watch that rotation, see if that goes.
Elon, what was your question?
If you go up a few scans on OHX on the velocity, I didn't know if that rotation-ish was more of side lobe or if that was associated with it.
A couple things I notice as you spin up through that is, one, there's what we call a bounded weak echo region, which is indicative of the strongest updraft. So if you scroll back down through that storm vertically, Andrew, you'll see there's just a giant gap in the middle of that storm that isn't there when you go up. So that's the first indication this is a very intense supercell. I think there is some side lobe contamination, but a lot of time what you're seeing with the side lobe contamination is actually velocity signatures from higher up in the storm. So it gets real tricky when there's a bona fide strong circulation up in the storm. I think you're seeing a mix of actual circulation now and side lobe contamination. That's a dangerous storm. I'll come out and say that's a pretty dangerous storm at this point.
So as you go up in this storm, we were seeing here, you've got 73 dBz up to 29,000 feet. It's pretty strong. That's a big old hail core in that thing. Yep, that's one to be watched. So if you got folks up in Robertson County that around Springfield, Greenbrier, Springfield, Coopertown, you might want to give them a holler and just make sure they're paying attention to this thing, because this storm up there in Robertson County rather, could be a real beast, and it might evolve quickly over the next little bit and really start wrapping up. So it's
definitely a monster hailer at this point.
Yeah, really, really big hail. We're probably going to see some pictures of that before too long. This one down here in southeastern Williamson County sort of losing a little bit of its punch. That's not our main storm any longer. Main storm is definitely this one. So, like I said, if you know somebody up there in Robertson County, give them a holler. Greenbrier, Springfield, that road up there to Coopertown. That's a dangerous storm. That's going to cause some hail damage at the least up there in Robertson County and in Cheatham County, but down the road here in Robertson County. Yeah, that storm there around Pasco, Bells Bend, is getting a little bit of its act together from a hail perspective. So could have some hail falling again. We'd love for you to send your reports in to us. And that would be really helpful. If you're getting hail under any one of these storms, it would be helpful to know that, just so we can sort of understand a little better what's going on actually at the ground level. So Old Charlotte Pike, Buffalo Road, that whole area there in southwestern Davidson County could be getting a little hail now. That hail core is building up there in that storm around Riverwalk, headed toward Bells Bend. So hail not out of the question with that one. So there's really a few storms that have been potentially producing hail. One down there in southeastern Williamson County. That warning expires in 5 minutes, but that storm is not as big of an issue as it was a little bit ago, and they don't seem to be extending that storm or
Yeah,
that
it looks
warning
like
to
they're
the
not.
east. So that storm looks like to be out of our area here soon. We got this storm here around Bell's Bend that is building and could have a warning on it before long as far as hail goes. We're going to have to watch that. It's in a similar environment as this big storm over here in Cheatham County that has really gotten its act together. And so any of these storms could grow and get larger over the next 5, 10, 15 minutes. And pea-sized hail at Riverwalk being reported over there in the chat. So that doesn't surprise me one single bit. Pea-sized hail there at Riverwalk. So that could get larger for those folks that live up just north of Riverwalk. Up there around Scottsboro and Bell's Bend, this storm is kind of a mini version of this one up to the north. So as that hail core kind of gets its act together, it could get a little larger there at the ground level as it moves up towards Scottsboro. So we'll have to watch that one.
Smaller than dimes on that storm near Riverwalk.
All right. Yeah, so
The
pea size and dime size there for that storm.
the one near Pleasant View is in a very rural area. It wouldn't surprise me if we're not getting great report resolution there. But hopefully, as it moves a little bit closer to whatever that highway is out of Jolton, we'll get some additionals.
Yeah.
I have things starting to. Tom, what's it doing on the southwest side of that cell?
It's got a lot. So that little notch you see there on the southwest part is where the reflectivity, the rain and the hail is being held aloft. We don't quite have something wrapping all the way around that. So we're circulating there, or we're showing that's all where all the hail is, but it's further southwest where that tail extends behind that notch. Were something really dangerous to form, it would be somewhere in that area. But the shape of that right now shows that it's having trouble wrapping up into something that's tornadic. So that's a good thing. We like that. But that storm needs to be watched very closely. It is not showing imminent tornado signs, but it's a supercell. It's got an incredibly strong updraft. There's a lot going on there. So it's something we're not going to take our eyes off of.
Awesome.
Hey, Will, check out in chat. Check out that hail size. What is that hail size that Elijah posted there? I'd be curious to know. That's over I-24 around Jolton.
Nichols.
Okay. That was at exit 31.
Hail in Ashland City. Yeah, so we've got golf balls in Ashland City. We've got them on T-Spotter here. We'll be dropping those into chat. That's awesome. That validates a lot of what we saw.
Yeah, that core is going to go between Greenbrier and Springfield. That whole portion of Robertson County, I think, is at risk, and for large hail. So that's at this point that's the main threat. But it's a supercell with pretty strong mid-level rotation, so we'll just have to watch to hopefully make sure that thing doesn't get down closer to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Broader look, just absolutely peppered with tornado warnings. You see those in pink and red on that screen, as well as severe thunderstorm warnings that you see in yellow. This is, exactly what we had expected when the convective outlooks came out from SPC several days ago, right? It was some type of outbreak of severe weather like this. So hopefully everybody's prepared. We're prepared to watch these storms pretty much all night and really through the rest of the week on and off. Right now, still looks like that strongest thunderstorm on the radar is just east of Pleasant View moving into Greenbrier. So like we've been saying, anybody in northwest Davidson County, between I-24 and I-65 south of Springfield right now, head inside, make sure you're not outside. Dangerous thunderstorm coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a little bit of a broader look at both of our counties. Again, we always have to explain a little bit of this. We are Nashville severe weather. We cover 2 counties primarily. We may mention other counties, but we cover 2, and there are a lot of reasons for that. I've had this conversation quite a few times over the past 3 to 5 days, and they're great conversations. I enjoy talking about what we do and what we're part of and what our interests are. But sometimes I have to explain a little bit about what we cover. So we cover 2 counties, Davidson, which is this one right here with Nashville, and we cover Williamson. So right there where Franklin is. So those are the 2 counties we specifically cover. We love everybody in all of the other counties, but we have full-time jobs, and we have to cover what we can cover. And so we've chosen to keep our scope fairly narrow at 2 counties, and the storms that are in adjacent counties that will affect our 2 counties. So, but regardless of where you are, we're glad you're here, and we hope that you're all right, and hope that you hope you're prepared for these storms. So here's this one up here in Robertson County. Still a mean storm. Looks like it's going to go right there, like Tom said, right there between Springfield and Greenbrier. And that's the only warning we have in effect right now, which is nice.
That's nice. Yeah. We see Lawrence, Wayne.
Oh, man.
It's going to be one of those nights, Andrew, right?
It's going to be one of those nights.
We think one of these, storms are moving out, and it's time for us to catch our breath, and then we've got another one that shows up.
We hope the HRRR is right, and these last cells south of Jackson and near Lawrenceburg, as they push south, we get a little bit of a break for a couple hours. Mm-hmm. We'll see. The atmosphere's been throwing a lot of curveballs at us today, so we'll be watching that. But hopefully we'll get a little bit of a break before the main line.
Yep.
Tom, could you speak to, I know I'm putting you a little bit on the spot, could you speak a little bit to how the main line might act when it gets here? There's been some discussion of whether the line makes it through here, stalls over us. What are we watching for as that main line gets here later?
I think the most likely scenario is it's kind of weakening just as it gets to I-65. But it's lit up with tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings right now. The atmosphere is going to be extremely favorable for tornadoes and damaging winds and large hail as that line comes in. So, it's just a matter of timing it out. It's going to come through at night, which is obviously the bane of Nashville severe weather. We get way too many events here when it's dark outside. And
to be clear, this is the line you're talking about.
Yeah, all the way back there from southeast Missouri all the way down through Arkansas. That's what's going to come in here late evening into the early morning hours, depending on how far east you are in Middle Tennessee.
So that's something to watch, and what he's hoping and what he's talking about there is we're hoping that we get a little bit of a break between the stuff that we're getting now, these storms that have fired up ahead of the main line, that once these move out, we get a little bit of a break before this thing arrives later. So that'd be great, but yeah, could be a long evening. Could be a long evening, but that's all right. Looks like
Question
go
on
ahead.
that. Question on that main line came in the chat. What do the purple polygons mean?
Good
So
question.
those are the worst of all of all the polygon colors, right? Generally speaking.
They do get a little bit. They do get a little bit worse. Technicality. There are no tornado emergencies currently on this map, but the purple polygons typically mean that the tornado has been confirmed or reported. There's been some sort of confirmation that it's not just radar indicated rotation. The purple polygon means that, yeah, either somebody saw it or radar confirmed it, something like that. It does go another step, which is we don't even really want to talk about tonight.
No.
So. Another question that came in from the chat as we kind of kill time for this storm that's not in our counties to die off. Somebody asked for us to introduce Tom to our audience. And so, Tom, this is your second YouTube live for us. But if you weren't on the last one, Tom's the newest member of our team. Tom's a meteorologist who spent more than 30 years at the National Weather Service and has agreed to come on and work with us on a number of different projects, but one of them is on our live streams, just adding his air of professionalism to what we do. So thanks, Tom, for being here. We're really happy to have your insights.
Yeah, I just retired after a 33-year National Weather Service career. It took me all around the country. My last duty station was Wilmington, Ohio, which Cincinnati's home for me. I was here in Nashville at the Weather Service from 2009 to 2014 as the warning coordination meteorologist, and worked with David, who, of course, helped kick this whole thing off back in 2012 to kind of expand it, make it a formal partnership with the National Weather Service, and really embrace the volunteer spirit of Middle Tennessee to build a community of weather watchers and people that support each other during severe weather. So I moved away and then I come back and it's grown into something I never could have believed it would become. So it's really cool. I love the comments in there. A few thanks for the retirement. It was quite a journey. We have something special here in Middle Tennessee as a weather community, both with the broadcasters and what you guys have done here and built with National Severe Weather. I just want to offer what little I can, when I can, to provide some inside information, some perspective, and sometimes put people's mind at ease, but sometimes really bring that urgency that this is a situation that you need to respond to with as quickly as you can.
Tom has already earned his pay. I think we'll double your pay, Tom. His and his insights are just invaluable, and we're glad to have him here. So he's been talking with us all day today. So we appreciate that a whole lot.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's no simpler statement than Nashville Severe Weather wouldn't exist if it weren't for Tom giving us a chance a long time ago. So we're glad you're here. Andrew, what's happening with these warnings up there?
Yeah, so this one here, they've issued another one, but it doesn't include us. The storm is clearly in Robertson County now. I'm speaking from a Davidson County perspective, safely within Robertson County, and so they have issued a new polygon. No, we perfectly anticipated that. Includes Springfield, Cross Plains, Portland, all the way into Sumner County as well. So this warning will expire for Davidson County. The storm now is very comfortably. If you, again, I'm speaking from Davidson County perspective, is comfortably inside Robertson County now, and so that warning for Davidson will be allowed to expire, and will go away now that the storm has moved out of the county. So that will leave us warning free at the moment, but the storm that we were talking about a little bit ago that was around Bells Bend and Riverwalk is now up there around Beeman Park. Wouldn't wouldn't be surprised at all if that thing had a little hail with it too. In fact, some radar algorithms are showing actually fairly decent hail with that. Let's go up and look at that aloft. That's 68 dBz all the way up to 26,000 feet. So that storm's getting a little core on it too. Right there around Beeman Park, the old Fontenelle property, Joelton, Dry Creek. So this storm may get a warning on it before long. So we won't let this go yet because I can go ahead and tell you that this particular storm will be, let's go ahead and just kind of explain where it's going to go, because if it comes over you, it's probably going to drop some hail, especially if it has a core like that. Like Ridgeview Estates, Lickerton Pike, Union Hill Road, Ivy Point Road, Greer Road. So those roads up there in northern Davidson County between Joelton and Goodlettsville, that's where this storm's going to go here in just a little bit. So wouldn't surprise me if they issue a warning for this for hail. But we'll see what they do. But it does look like it's gotten quite a core on it. Tom, do you see that as well?
I do. I always take a little consideration of the size of the core. It's not a real broad core.
It is kind of a narrow,
that will shrink the hail size a little bit. It just has exposed a little bit more melting. But I mean, that's also a core that's kind of what we would call a weak ecoregion. So it's indicative of a very strong updraft. It's just not a big storm. So I think that certainly penny to nickel size hail, absolutely could fall with that. If it strengthens any more, then we'll probably see a warning come out.
Yeah, I would say right there around Old Hickory Boulevard. And which Old Hickory, this is a small section of a very, very, very large road in Davidson County, but Old Hickory Boulevard right there around I-24 up on the northwestern side. That's kind of right where this hail core is. And
I think you have a 3-body scatter spike there on the far southwest part of that storm too.
I'm on the OHX radar.
Yeah, from like it was extending south from Beeman Park. If you go back down, that area, right? You see where the little orange triangle is there, just to the left of that.
Okay,
that might be a 3-body scatter indicative of hail. That could be coming up from somewhere up in the core of the storm.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
What happens with a 3-body scatter is the hail, the radar beam hits a bunch of hail.
Yeah.
It's large enough, some of that hail energy gets bounced down to the ground, bounces back up and goes back to the radar and creates that little spike, what we'd call an artifact. So it's not always an indicator of large hail, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on.
And there's our new severe thunderstorm warning for that storm. So new severe thunderstorm warning for Davidson County, and that's going to be in effect until 7:15. So about 45 minutes on that one. And but it'll be out of here before that. But the warning goes all the way up into Sumner County as well. So, but that's for this storm. Again, as Tom was talking about, a pretty small little hail core with it, but it could be potent, and that's right there around Old Hickory Boulevard and Whites Creek Pike, and that hail core now is crossing I-24. And let's put some ETAs on this thing. So that would be up there around Cedar Hill Park around 6:30 here in just a few minutes. And that would be around Goodlettsville at 6:35. It looks more toward like the Bakers and Luton's communities. Bakers at 6:36. Millersville right around that time as well. So that's kind of where this thing's aimed. It's more these communities right up here. Ivy Point, Greer Road, about 6:30. A little after that, Baker 6:35. So yeah, nasty little storm. I'm seeing some storm reports coming out. We got 2.5 inch hail reports northeast of Ashland City. 2.5 inch.
That'll leave a mark.
That will leave a mark. That will leave a mark every time.
Yeah, but considering how charged up the atmosphere is, we'll take large hail over the alternative. I think
Yeah.
it's at this
Yep.
point no fun for the people that are experiencing it, I'm sure, but
Hmm. All right, so let's back up a little bit. Boy, Jackson, just tornado warning after tornado warning for them. They got another pretty mean supercell down there toward Jackson. Again, that's all in West Tennessee. But could be here in Middle Tennessee before too long. That one would probably miss us to the northwest, but we'll have to watch. Sometimes those things can veer to the right, and we could get that coming into Davidson. But that's a good ways from now. We have other things before that. So that just sort of gives us a wide view. A lot going on back there in Arkansas, all the way up into Missouri, Illinois. Let's see. Hail core remains right there along Licton Pike, Union Hill Road, Greer Road. Let's back up a little bit. There's Greer Road up there toward Bakers, up there toward the, I believe it's the Music City Raceway up there, right? Drag strip up there. So that's kind of where this hail core is, where it's headed, right toward Bakers, Old Springfield Pike. This is Springfield Highway here that runs up from Goodlettsville up to Ridgetop. We've got Baker's Market there on the left as you go up the ridge. And so that's generally where this hail core is headed if it holds together. Crocker Springs Road, Union Hill Road. Wouldn't be surprised if they got some decent hail there. Maybe quarter size. And it might be over a pretty compact area.
Well, thank you to everybody who is submitting T-Spotter reports, seeing them come in hot and heavy. Old Clarksville Pike in Jolton, larger than a quarter. Looks like, quarter size or larger with that storm, according to the reports.
Which storm was that? That's this one?
That's Old Clarksville Pike.
Okay, so that should be this one that's currently warned then.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the Ivy Point, Jolton to Millersville.
And it was larger than quarters?
That's what they're saying. And yeah, photos supports that.
certainly possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, our next storm we're going to watch is this one down here in Lawrence County and Wayne County. Currently has a warning on it, but we'll see if they extend it off to the northeast. Can't tell a whole lot about that storm right now, but it doesn't look particularly like it's getting stronger. So we'll see what that one does in Lewis County, but that's probably the next one we'll be watching.
Last few scans looking aloft in that storm, the updraft's really weakening on it. So we'll see. It could
How
always
about that one down there in the south of us?
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But the last few scans, last 3 or 4 scans, I'm seeing a real diminishment of the updraft in that storm.
That's the one that's in Springfield now.
No, that's the one down in Wayne and.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't more clear on that, Will. Yeah, the one further south.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, now consistent quarters outside of Jolton.
So that's the storm that is currently moving through Bakers. So disregard the holes in the radar data there, but there's some hills up that way. So Bakers, this is right around. This is Baker Road. This is Freeman Hollow Road, and there's a railroad crossing right here. Then there's the Ridgetop Railroad Tunnel that runs right there. And
Andrew, when you get a minute, would you mind to take a look through the vertical on that storm, especially
Yeah.
to that donut hole there west of Baker's?
that's been there for years. That's just
Not that
bad
one.
radar.
Over to further west.
Oh, further west. Oh, that one. Yeah. Let's go up and look. That looks like another one of those anticyclonic things, doesn't it?
It does to me, absolutely. That is another anticyclonic, 2 anticyclonic rotating storms in a night. That's kind of wild. So, but yeah, that's an almost bounded weak echo region, which is associated with this. That's a bounded weak echo region at that point. That's a very strong updraft. All the stuff in the storm is being held aloft above that, and you're basically seeing the base of the updraft with all the junk above it, and you can see that when you scan up through the storm in the vertical. You can see all that stuff aloft and probably tilted down to the east. That's a severe storm. That's a very severe storm. That's a signature of a strengthening storm right now.
So the hail core moving through Bakers right now, and just crossed. That just crossed Springfield Highway up there. I've actually got a source up there. I'm going to look at a.
Yeah, I was going to say we had some tech up there, right?
Yeah, let me see what I got here.
So while you're doing that, someone had asked a question about what does anticyclonic mean. So most thunderstorms that rotate, supercells, they kind of go counterclockwise. They go cyclonically. That's how most of the northern hemisphere rotate. Anticyclonic is clockwise. It's the opposite. It's kind of the mirror image of how 95% of storms that rotate. So it's rare. It's rare enough that it got my attention to see it. They tend to very rarely be associated with tornadoes. But they do tend to mean significant enhancement of large hail potential, which is what we're seeing with these storms. So it's interesting. It's just something that I wasn't expecting to see tonight, and here we are with 2 backwards rotating storms.
Awesome. Well, it looks like rain down south of this storm in western Williams County, west of 65, has started to kind of blob out. I feel like that kind of corridor is pretty worked over right now. And nothing really downstream. I think we're maybe out of the woods for the next little bit on supercell development.
Yeah, saw some hail on the camera. I just checked there. So this storm, that's up there in the Luton's area. So it looks like the hail core crossing Springfield Highway and Old Springfield Pike and Tinnon Road, Tinnin, Tinnon Road. And that storm is now up in Robertson and Sumner counties, up there northeast of us. So, all right.
Well, it looks like the storm's moved out of the county. What's the plan for the rest of the evening there, Mr. Leeper?
Well, we're certainly going to be right here. We will watch every radar scan. This event has our attention. Not only the storms that we've been having, these hailers that have been coming through here, but of course we're watching back to the west. This has been quite a day already back there in eastern Arkansas, the Jonesboro area, moving into areas like Dyersburg, Tennessee. So that line is definitely taking shape out there and is angry and upset. And we are dealing with some maybe agitated storms here in Middle Tennessee right now. And as they sort of move out, we expect and we hope that we get just a little bit of a break. As Will talked about, we've just kind of got these areas of showers here some light rain from Franklin back up into Dixon. So maybe that gives us a little bit of a break for a little while. Let's get the reports in. So if you had any hail, if you have any pictures that you took and you're kind of waiting to send them, go ahead and send those our way. Hashtag TSpotter on Twitter. And that would be super, super helpful. Hailful. HAILP.
Helpful.
FUL.
Ah.
It's gonna be a long night, fellas.
Get your coffee ready there, Andrew.
I should have already. I've got empty cups ready to fill here, so I'll go take care of that. All right, thanks, guys. We're going to jump off of here. That storm's pushed off into Sumner County, and then we'll join back in here in just a little bit.
Hang back for a second, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We'll jump off the broadcast, and then we'll jump back on if we need to. If warnings are issued for Davidson or Williamson counties here a little bit later on. Otherwise, we'll be on socials over on X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all those places. We'll see you there.